I'll edit out.
No, edit that shit. Yeah.
I'll edit it so we can sound intelligent, you
Amazing.
know.
Yeah.
So yes. All right. I'm back. Good people, Giggle Gang. Ooh, I'm so excited today because I
You
got
recording already?
yes, I'm recording already. Look at you fucking
Yeah.
up my intro. Like,
Hey,
look
listen.
at you.
Listen, I was waiting on the music because I know you got that new intro, that giggle, 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 giggle,
Yeah.
giggle. And I might have just hopped in and hit a little freestyle or something. I don't know.
No,
Got me
that
on
comes
here with
in.
the giggle gang, trying to get some giggle fame.
You're so oh Lord, that
Find my
comes in.
homegirl. She got the giggle brains.
Oh shit. Oh, so we going off the dome? No, the music comes in
Want to
post
giggle Jay-Z? We
production.
got giggle Dame.
Oh my god, y'all! I tried to give him a nice introduction, but it's just not gonna happen. I have my buddy, my pal, Mr. David Castro in the building,
What up? What up?
creator,
What up? What up? What up?
Dungeon Forward, Complex
The culture.
Apparel, everything dope.
Yes, sir. That's
He's
what we do.
joining me today, and as you guys can see, it's about to be some ridiculousness because
It's a
this
long
is just
time coming.
it is. We're supposed to do this a long time ago, but you're here now.
But sometimes you gotta let shit season. You gotta let it marinate.
Yes,
You know?
yes. I like the way you say that. I
Marinate.
see you with this microphone. You making me
Yeah,
look
my shit
bad. I
gold.
thought my shit was this nigga got a gold microphone.
Hey, Amazon, right? Amazon Prime. That
Yo,
shit is crack.
let me find out you got a podcast on the side. I'm gonna have to holler at you, bruh.
I got a Prime account. I got a Prime account. I got no. I can spend a little poetry or something.
Oh God.
I'll be on some whatever.
Oh my God. So tell the people who you are, David, affectionately known as Castro. Yeah, tell them who you are.
Yeah. So I'm affectionately known as Castro, as Irene put it. Listen, man, this is my homie. I don't even know what she wants me to describe about myself. I design dope stuff.
Yes, you do.
I own a brand called Dungeon Forward. The company's actually Complex Apparel. We got a couple of different brands under that. Blank Face is one. Those are some dope masks that we just dropped. And my wife has a brand underneath it as well, underneath Complex Apparel. It's called Delilah Johnson. So if y'all check that out too. But my main squeeze is Dungeon Forward. That's my thing.
Hey,
crowns for the culture. And the dopest ones this side of the universe. So if
it
y'all
really is.
If you don't have one yet, you slipping. Super
Yeah,
slipping.
I tried to tell the people.
Yourself.
I tried to tell. Listen, man, you and Delilah. Listen, y'all are some fucking. Y'all are some fucking just creative motherfuckers. Like, I think somebody asked me a couple of.
I got some jeans that I'm trying to get altered, and they've been sitting there for like 3 months.
Delilah won't alter your jeans.
Like, man, that ain't what I do.
She like, listen, hey little nigga, I got wedding dresses to design and make. You go sit down somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't blame her. Listen, I keep telling folks, if some shit happens, I know that I can get some clothes made from Delilah and David. Like, I just know it.
Potato sacks. We got you.
You stupid. So it's Sunday morning. Excuse my sound, y'all. My allergies.
I was Saturday night because you're not gonna be on no Sunday group. It just is what it is. We about the universe today.
Okay, listen, it's the weekend. It's the weekend, and I am trying to recover from fucking music festivals. Went to Broccoli City yesterday.
Being plugged up.
Yo, shout out to Ben. Just shout out to the good bros. I love y'all. I really do. Y'all are amazing people. Because of course Castro is a bruh. Do you little bruh thing? Is there a bruh thing? No?
Yeah, we hoo bow bow.
You're so stupid. Anyway, yeah, so I'm nasal because my allergies are on a million. Shout out to the Qs. So yeah, what did you get into this weekend? Did you do anything cool this weekend? You're always somewhere.
My time is like I got ADD like crazy. That's probably my biggest problem in life. And so I just be moving around. And so I can't remember if it was this past weekend that I did Spring Coming or if it was last weekend. And then I know I did something else. We did a full moon party. That was dope.
What is that? I missed. Yo, shout out to Spring Coming. Yeah, I was at Beachella, and I'll tell y'all about that in a little bit. But from the looks of it, Spring Coming
you were where you were supposed to be.
Yes, I
You were where
was.
you were supposed to be.
I
You were,
was. I absolutely.
except for there was a part where I expected you to come on stage and you didn't. And
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? What happened there?
listen. Have you seen Beyonce's security guard, Julius?
Yeah, he walked up and down the side of the stage.
Right. Julius would pick me up in one hand. I'm good.
Yeah,
Nah,
I
and
thought he
choke
was
my ass out.
yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
You
I
was just
know to
screaming.
stay. I know to stay at least 5 feet away from Beyonce.
I know you dropped a tear, and don't tell nobody about my tear that I dropped. That
You about to tell on yourself, old
it's all good.
emotional ass.
You don't.
That's
Hey,
why I fucks with you.
listen. After 30, after you turn 30, and you a dude, I don't care who listening to this. Yo, you got a lot more empathy, and your emotions be tied up, man.
Yes.
I'm telling
Yes.
you, it's a tear, it's a verge on it. I might cry right now.
Oh, don't please. There's no need to cry. We don't have nothing. We don't have nothing to cry about. But yeah, so yeah, Spring Coming looked really dope. Like, did you enjoy yourself? I know this is the third year that Dungeon Forward has done collaboration with Spring Coming. Yo, your hats. Yo, Negroes is fiending for those hats. So what was it like? I know the weather was perfect.
Yeah, weather was way better. It was still a little bit cold, a little bit windy, but it was. I mean, this is probably the best weather that we've had out there for Spring Coming. I mean, shout out to George 2.0 and Lauren for putting on such a great event. I mean, to get that many people to do anything is ridiculous. So to see them do that, I commend them for that, and especially for something that's so positive that supports scholarships. And so for us though, like we did it for the last 3 years. The first 2 years was kind of like, let's test this out. Let's see what it is. Mm-hmm. And so this year we were like, we're gonna drop some real Dungeon Forward for this event. And it went out, it went off like crazy, man. People
Shit was crazy.
In advance, people that didn't even go, like you.
Yes. Let me get that.
Matter of fact, last night.
Let me hit that PayPal. Let me get that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Like maybe 5-10 of the crowns that we did as a collab left. And last night, like at the full moon party that we did with Social Exchange here in Miami, over right by the American Airlines Arena. I mean, people were copping them, didn't even know what it meant. Like,
oh, that's dope.
Oh, spring is coming. Spring is okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, give me that. That's live. So
that's dope. So I will say, I'd have to send you this picture. While I was at Broccoli City yesterday, I ran into a dude that had on a Rise hat. Yes.
Word.
I was like, where'd you get that hat from? And he actually said that he had gone to Spring Coming last week. He got it in New York.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, my friend is the guy that does that hat. He was like, for real? So I was like, if you don't mind, I don't want to sound like a creep. I just want to take a picture of it so I can send it to him.
All the homies do that. It's funny. I
got to. You got to. Yo, do you know what it is?
See, when I see somebody, I don't know, man. I'd be a little bit nervous about approaching them, and
if they knew it was you,
their day, because it's a hat. Like for to me, it's everything, but to somebody else, they just cop the hat, And
yeah,
and so like I'm right I saw a dude in Brooklyn, right? I'm staying in Bed-Stuy, and we sell to this store in Bed-Stuy called Vinny's, and I'm walking down in Brooklyn, and I see a dude. He probably about maybe 50, 60 paces away from me, rocking a Dungeon 4 hat. So I'm contemplating in my mind, like, do I run after this dude? Like, do I run to catch up to this dude? And I'm like, nah, I'm in Bed-Stuy. Like, dang, that's not a good look.
Right. Something might happen.
So I just let it happen. I just, just walk by, embrace the moment.
But I think it's so dope, Castro, because you know me, I'm a sneakerhead, and I love streetwear. I just love fashion, right? Mm-hmm. And I think about these greats. So when I think of like Phil Knight, like when he started when he started Nike,
he was selling shoes out of the trunk.
He's selling shoes out of his trunk to track people, to track stars.
Yeah.
And just seeing like the competition between Nike and Adidas. Like Adidas used to be the granddaughter, like 70s, early 80s, right before the Air Force Ones and really the Jordans dropped.
Yeah, when those dropped,
right. Like my Adidas. So I just think about that, and I don't want you, like, I feel where you're coming from, where you're like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous, but can you imagine what in 10 years, 15 years, or what have you, if someone has on a Dungeon Forward, whatever it is, right? If they were to run into David Castro, like they be trying to come after you. They be kind of be like, because if Phil Knight was to walk up on me now, I mean, he's old
Yeah,
now, but
well,
it'd be like,
it still be
what?
wild. It still would be wild. I mean, so I went to the event, and because so things like that have happened to me, and I went to this event called Complex Con, some months ago, and in Complex Con it was like heavy hitter central. At
Yes.
Complex Con, I met Andre
I want to
3000.
go. Yeah, and you gave him that book.
I gave him a hat and I gave him a book because we had a conversation, and I read an article that he did in GQ where he was talking about being in and out of depression, and people also always kind of typecasting him to music when he feels like he's a much broader creative. And um and and so the book I gave him is a book called The Originals, and it just talks about the people that push the world forward by not fitting into whatever the status quo is. But outside of that, at this event, it's a streetwear focused event. So all the designers that everybody covets right now. So Virgil Abloh was there, that from Off White.
He is
I got
taking
I met
off.
I met him, gave him a hat.
Louis
Jerry
Vuitton.
Jerry Lorenzo from Fear of God was there. I gave him got to chop it up with him, gave him something, and it was just crazy. But what ended up even being more crazy was there's a dude named Nick Galway that works for Adidas, and there's another dude named John Wexler. But matter of fact, I can't remember which one it was. Anyways, it was
Did
one
Wexler
of
come from Nike? Because I know there are a couple that
so
left
one of the
Nike.
guys, one of them is focused on like entertainment and aligning people to the brand. So he'll be
Mhm.
the person that interfaces with like Pharrell
Or
and
Kanye or
people
something
that
like
have
that.
and
Hmm.
like from a lifestyle standpoint,
Hmm.
getting people engaged, getting the brand on them, and then one of the other guys is focused on design, right? And I can't believe I can't remember which one now because I met them in the same setting initially,
Right.
but this time I was at the Pharrell put on it, or well, NERD put on a concert to drop their new album. It was basically like a listening session. It was super dope.
I heard it
And
was crazy.
yeah, it was wild. And I'm standing there like I had been backstage and everything, but I was trying to find like my homies that was there. Maya was out there.
Right,
That's actually
right.
who I stayed with when I was out there. And I was looking for her. And so in the process of looking for her, I accidentally end up backstage, and then I come back from backstage and I find them, and I'm just vibing next to them. And I look back behind me, and it's uh John Wexler. Like, no,
Are
Nick
you
Galway. And this is dude, like a lot of people don't know this, but so
the fact that you even know what his face looks like?
nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was except me,
Right.
right? And so when I walk up to him, he was like, "Damn, I'm caught." Like kind of one of those things. But he was cool though. And so when I met him, it was kind of my introduction to Adidas NMDs because he designed those,
Yep.
and he also worked with Kanye to design the Yeezys, which
The
these
first
Yeezys,
Yeezys?
yeah, the first ones
Yes.
and kind of the consecutive ones. They like when Kanye was in China and they were in the factory, he
Hmm.
was basically sitting on the floor going through the silhouettes and stuff like that. And just being in the same room with somebody like that who has impacted my design process. Because one of the things that he said at in the first event that I saw him was like, you got to remember to be playful, right? And you got to remember
Hmm.
that you don't have to like design everything on the computer or draw everything. Like be handy. Like take a piece of plastic that you got from I don't know, some packaging or something like that, cut it up in different shapes and actually make something in front
Right.
of you, and that'll open up a whole nother broad span of creativity. So seeing people like that and running into them, I can only imagine like if the tables were reversed, like how humbling it would be for somebody to do that. And it's happened to a certain degree. Last night, um, at the event that I was venting at, this girl comes up and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I go to introduce myself, and she's like, "I already know who you are." I was like, "Well, I need to." I mean, now you made it weird. Like,
Right,
what
right. Like
do
now
I
I feel
do
like you're
now?
stalking me.
What do I do now? But anyway, she ended up telling me that she did PR for an event that I did that wasn't really a fashion oriented event. It was an art show um, during Art Basel called Black Bay, or no, excuse me, called Bay
I remember that.
Black Art
Hmm.
Experience. And I was there with a couple family folks. Shout out to Melissa Mitchell, she was there
Yep.
too, doing her thing. And she did the PR for the event. So that's where she ended up knowing me from. And she came and she was talking about cop and stuff. She didn't grab anything, but she said she gonna get it online. But either way, it's still like it's still dope because you could see that there was some level of rapport there
Right.
that personally developed. You know, it's kind of like this aura of whatever she thinks I am. I mean, that
Right.
could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, but at the same time, like the way she approached it was dope to me.
Yeah, I think that's dope. Like just going back to what you said about meeting the designers over at Adidas. And I know you and I have these conversations all the time, just like signs and the vibes that you give out. How wild is that you, David Castro, a designer, a streetwear brand, would be at Complex Con and just happen to stumble across one of the head designers of
Yeah.
one of the number two, close number two,
Yeah.
the number two
Nah, they jumped over
sneaker brand.
Jumpman.
They did jump over Jumpman, but I think Nike still
not
has
not
like.
Nike, not Nike.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not
but still, they still have the
yeah,
larger, in the grand scheme of
yeah,
things, they still have the larger margin. But still, like,
mhm,
that's wild. Like,
yeah,
the fact that you flew across the country to go
yeah,
to this. And I remember when you decided to do it, it was kind of
yeah.
last
It was
minute.
last minute. It was last minute.
We had been talking about it and it was like, I don't know. And then last minute, you pulled the
Yeah,
trigger.
yeah,
And then to meet that person and to get
yeah,
even if he doesn't remember who you are,
yeah.
to get those jewels from him that you just shared with all of
Mhm.
the Giggle Gang. Like I think that's I believe there's power in you like just the vibes that you give off and the energy that you get because there wasn't no reason for you to not only meet him but then meet your favorite artist
Yeah, that's
Andre
ridiculous.
3000
So
and then
so
give
check
him a
this.
book. Like
Check
what the fuck?
how the world works, right? So last night, gosh, man, I hold on, I gotta look at the text message. 'Cause I don't want to mess this girl's name up. But
Nah, you good?
so when I was there, there was there were these girls that were working a booth for Tree Tour, right? Tree
Okay.
Tour is a it's a sneaker company that Andre 3000 has a an agreement with, and uh and the girls that were working there, they were selling the shoes, you know, working the booth or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and they hit me and was like, "Oh, Irene, I gotta get this go.
Okay.
I had to cut it out. Hold on.
Mute your
Yeah.
if you scroll on your screen, you can mute
All right.
up at the top and you see that microphone with the X with the line through it. Hit that.
All right. I'm good. Still recording? You on mute now.
I was saying, yeah, I just muted you.
All right. All good.
You straight?
Yeah, we straight.
All
Recording?
right. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So, what were you saying?
I said, so what's crazy is like we were just talking about meeting Andre 3000, right? And so
Right.
there was a girl that was out there that was running a Tree Tour booth that was she works for a PR agency and she actually is based here in Miami. And real cool peoples. Um on IG, her name is Fierce Lenny, right? And last night she happened to be at the event that I was at, and
Mhm.
she copped the hat from me. But
Shout out to her.
this is the third time I've seen her since I saw them at Complex Con, and she was pivotal in like the moment in which I was able to meet Andre 3000 because she basically let me skip the line.
Oh,
And
for real?
yeah, because they seen me kind of like lingering around. Like I'm not even gonna front. Like I'm like, where is this dude at? Like I got if I'm gonna meet anybody here, this is who I'm gonna meet. But
Exactly.
was what was even crazier about that is like I ended up landing a design interview with Puma while I was out there, and I had no idea who this interview was with, and people gonna laugh at me, but it said you're gonna meet with this cat Vegas Jones, right?
Uh-huh.
I had no idea who Vegas Jones is. Do you know
You
who he
ain't
is?
Google?
Not at the I mean afterwards, like before I met with him, I knew who he was. But like when I walked up there and they were like, okay, all the design people are meeting with Vegas Jones. I'm like, all right, cool. Must work for Puma. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who
Right,
that is.
right.
I didn't put two and two together and
Wait, tell the people who Vegas Jones is, because I don't think I know who Vegas
all right.
Jones
So
is.
Vegas Jones, that's what I was gonna ask. So
Yeah.
Vegas Jones is Jay-Z's right hand man. Um,
Really?
yeah, and like if you ever
Outside of Tata or
and
uh
Kodak and all of them,
yeah.
like that it's basically the click. So like you got Jay-Z, you got Kodak, and you got Vegas Jones, and they pretty much always together. So like
Okay.
if you see those paper plane, oh, and this other dude named Upscale Vandal, I can't remember what his real name is. Um, and so all of them are typically roll together. And I didn't know this. Like I had no idea who this dude was. I knew who Kodak was, and I had seen Upscale Vandal, but I had never seen Vegas Jones. Vegas Jones is like one of the homies that is an old school homie. I think he might have got locked up at one point, and then Jay Z just always was there for him. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so he has a collab with Puma, but he also does. I don't know if you've seen those paper plane hats.
Yeah.
The planes
The
hats.
Rock Nation hats.
Yeah. He also works with Rock Nation doing those too, and they were interviewing for like the developer of whatever his next collection was at Puma. And so I happened to have like a lookbook in my bag, and I saw the interview line. I was like, you know what? I don't got nothing to lose. Like this is Puma. We're not competitors. Let me see if I might be able to land something there. And long story short, nobody ended up being chosen out of the group of people that interviewed that I know of. They never announced anything, but it was just dope to be able to
Oh wait, is
even
Vegas Jones Emery?
Emory Jones, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
When you,
but
if
I
you would
didn't
say
know that. I didn't put two and two together though.
oh
When
okay, because I'm like,
when I
wait.
yeah,
Okay, bet, bet,
yeah.
bet, bet. That's
So
dope.
yeah, so I ended up interviewing with him, man, and also Upscale Vandal came in there for the interview. I ended up tossing them a couple hats, even though they got a headwear brand, so they're probably not gonna rock them. They're probably give them away to somebody. But it's just sometimes all it takes is just putting yourself in the environment, getting out the house to really find like a random opportunity. Like you just never know what's gonna happen. It's crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah,
What? All
yeah,
right.
it's wild.
So last night was the party that you went to. What was it called again? The
Yeah,
Blue Moon?
it's like a full moon.
Full Moon.
It's a brand new party that Social Exchange is trying out, and it actually was kind of similar to like a spring coming in the way that it was set up, like a
Okay.
field day. Everybody come out, kind of put their blankets down, and then but the curation of the group is my exact audience. Like it's young black professionals, creatives, all of that, and the girl that put it together, her name is Alexis. She runs Social Exchange, and we have been talking about doing stuff together for quite some time. And she was the one that brought me in for the Basil Bay
Okay.
joint, and
Dope.
it was just a dope event, and it was a full moon for real. Like that was, I was I'll be on that magical stuff sometimes.
Right, right, right. No, that's probably why they probably scheduled it for
Yeah, I'm
that on
sure. I'm
purpose.
sure.
Well,
Yeah,
so yeah.
and we actually
Um,
had a nice day last night in Miami, which is rare.
in this time of year, it
Yeah,
rains a
because
lot.
it'd be raining in the
Yeah,
summer. We
raining
got
season.
go to
I feel like it's raining season 6 months out of the year.
yeah.
As for me, like I said, I went to Broccoli City
Word.
the week before. I was at Coachella, and I will say this: not all music festivals are created equal.
Yeah.
Like going to Coachella, the Disney World of music festivals here in the US, and then turning around and coming to Broccoli City, like I felt like I was being a snob. Like I really did. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
my homegirl was like, this ain't shit, huh? I was like, nah, they're trying though. They're trying because Broccoli City has literally grown in size. Like they keep growing. They used to be
And they
like at
don't
the
they
Navy
don't have
Yard.
like I mean it's in DC. Like what is it? Unless they took over the National Mall, like what's a big enough venue
And
to take on something like
and that's the
Coachella?
thing.
Yeah.
They were at RFK Stadium, which is an old stadium, the old Redskin Stadium. I think the Washington soccer team, national soccer team, plays there. But the stadium is not. It's old. I don't even know if if they even do stuff inside of it. So it wasn't inside the stadium. It was in the parking lot of the stadium. It was just all bad. It wasn't. They tried. They really tried. But it was cool to see Cardi B. I was super excited because I missed Cardi B last week at Coachella because after Beyonce, it was kind of like, let's just get, right. Like the next day, which was Sunday, it was like, oh, we can get there when we want to. But yeah, Coachella was dope as fuck. Like you need to go. I think you would have.
I been there this time, man.
You would have had an amazing time.
You know what the thing is, man? Like, I feel like women do a great job of organizing trips.
Yep.
And dudes, we talk about it, and then we get, I don't know, distracted with whatever's in front of us in that moment. We just don't do that. And I mean, maybe dudes do. Not my homies.
Yeah, y'all need to get it together because
we got this like dwindle down effect. Like, a lot of the dudes that I kick it with, travel with, everybody's kind of in their careers, so they pretty decent. And so you can't even stick somebody with like hey, you gotta put in $250 deposit. Dude would just be like, nah, just keep it. I can't make it.
Which is wow. Y'all need to do better because it was great. Shout out to all my roommates, Kelly, Bria, Nay, Vanessa, who else? Maya, Nikki. I hope I got everybody. I think I got everybody. Yeah, all 8 of us. Oh, Tamika. It was a dope time. Like that first day we were kind of nervous because we were like, yo, it's 98 degrees. We about to be in the desert. We don't know what to expect. And we got out there. It wasn't bad. We were like, all right, cool. And then Saturday was B-Day. So I was like, hey, we need to go. We was on the schedule.
Like, when I see the pictures, it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. And I know it's in Coachella Valley, but like, and I believe that's outside of Palm Springs. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, it's 45 minutes outside of Palm Springs.
So do you stay in Palm Springs and then just drive out there?
Yeah. So most people stay in Palm Springs and then drive to Coachella Valley, which is in Indio, California.
Okay.
And then a lot of people actually camp out. So there's a couple of packages. One of the packages includes being able to camp out on the campgrounds. Okay. So you're familiar with the Dade County Youth Fair, right?
Yeah.
So you see how the Dade County Youth Fair is used for the Dade County Youth Fair, maybe like 1 or 2 other events throughout the year. Yeah. But it's a dedicated large area of land for the purposes of the youth fair.
I got you.
That's how Coachella is. The thing about it is it's the size of like fucking Disney World. It's huge. It's big. So yeah, it was dope. Camped out for Beyonce for like 7 hours.
The people tapping out, like,
oh, absolutely. That's that.
I can just imagine that is all kinds of exotic, random stuff we never heard of. That rich people out there doing.
Yes, absolutely. And you see the effects of it by mid-afternoon. Like niggas not even making it to dawn. It's like nah.
Not even making it to dawn.
Nah, it's like
early and just, hey, bro, I just came here to go.
Right, like I can't do it. So yeah, God smiled on us on Saturday because there was overcast. So with me standing out there waiting on Beyonce, me and my crew standing out there waiting on Beyonce for like 7-8 hours, watching bands that we don't care about, listening to music that I was like, what the fuck is this shit? That's cool. I'm eclectic with mine, but right now the focus is Beyonce. Yeah. And it was all worth it. Like all worth it. Like I was like 5 feet from Beyonce. And I was like, yo, like you, I'm not about to fly across the country and not see Beyonce the way that I saw Beyonce.
Yeah,
like,
it gotta be right there in the front.
It got to. That's
the flight was about the same amount of time as your wait. So
exactly. So I might as well. So yeah, I'm just out here living the dream, man. My birthday's coming up. It's on Thursday. I'm having a great week thus far. I've been having a dope 2018. So I can't even complain. But enough of that. Yeah. Enough of that. I'm gonna get into the show. I want to ask you. I know you have an answer for this. What's the most ridiculous? And I'm gonna ask you, just
why am I already like Smile.
What?
I feel like it's a setup because you know I'm
No,
reckless.
no, it's not a setup. It's not a setup. I would never set you up. So I
Yeah,
know
we
that you do, you do trade shows, and
okay.
I'm gonna keep it in the realm of
Oh, word.
what you do. So
Okay.
you do trade shows, you visit shops,
Yeah.
you talking. I've seen you in action talking to managers and
Yeah.
owners of shops,
Yeah.
pushing the Dungeon Forward brand.
Yeah.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've done to either get your foot into the door or meet somebody that you want to talk to Dungeon Forward about? What's the most ridiculous thing that you've done?
I
Because
gotta go way back for this. I gotta
let's
go way.
go. I would assume so.
And it's not so. It's this actually predates Dungeon Ford. Like this is when Complex Apparel was the brand, right?
Hmm.
I don't know what date this was, but it was my first time in Vegas. And if y'all familiar with Vegas, you got the dope hotels and then you got the sucky hotels, right? Then you
Uh-huh.
got the dudes that just go to Vegas, right? And so what I mean by that is me and my homeboy, we heard about this trade show called Magic. If you into fashion, you probably heard of it. It used to be like the epitome of fashion and streetwear. I mean, you go there, you see whatever celebrity in fashion exists, whoever has a brand that's a side, that's in music, that they're gonna be there. And so we gotta go, man. So we woke up one morning, they had tickets for like 300, and we were like, all right, we just gonna fly out there. We ain't had no money for a hotel, so we just gonna go out there and we gonna backpack.
What?
But if you know if you
Backpack
if you
in
know
Vegas? Nigga,
if
this
you
ain't
know Vegas,
damn European trail. What
if
are you
you
talking about?
if you know, I mean, so our thought process was, these hotels super big. Like, what is it to sleep in the lobby for, a night, and then I don't
Find a
know,
bathroom.
somehow
Yo, y'all are
you take
yeah.
a whole bath in the bathroom. Mm,
Okay.
all you gotta do is make. I mean, keep the balls fresh. You good, right? So
Jesus Christ.
so, anyways, so we flew out there, and I don't know why I didn't contemplate this because it is Vegas and it is in the desert. But it was like August. So I'm thinking, we getting closer to the winter.
No, August is the
Nah, bro.
hottest month of the year, bruh.
Nah, yeah, exactly. But mind you, this 10 years ago, I ain't had the same logic that
Yeah.
I got now. You know what I mean? I'm
Okay.
still
I,
developing.
I'll give it
Yeah.
to you.
And so we flew out there, no hotel, no nothing. And we didn't have access to Magic. Like so we got there and we thought we registered, but what we registered for was like some some event that was happening in conjunction with Magic.
What?
So
Okay.
we get there and they're like, so do you own a store or something? You own a like what why would we let you in?
Yeah, like what's
And
your purpose here? Who are
and
you?
we like, damn, nah, we gotta get in here. Like we can't come all the way to Vegas, not have no hotel, no nothing, and not be able to get into the one event that we tried to get in. So the first lady that we went to was like this old white lady that, she looking at us like, I already know what y'all up to. Like we get this all the time. So I could tell that she probably had some tenure with the trade show and just she kind of know who trying to finagle. But the
Right.
way these trade shows work is once you in the database, you good. So all you gotta do is get one person to put you in the database, and then you good. They gonna hit you up and ask you if you coming next year. So we go from person to person to person to person to person, and then we find this young girl that looked like she might be a little bit impressionable, right?
Jesus.
So we go up to her, we just talking to her random, like dude, we don't even talk about getting in for about 30 minutes. We just talking to her. And then finally we're like, oh yeah, we need to get in. We got a store in the Bahamas, which we eventually did have, but at the time it wasn't even a concept. Like we just BSing our way in.
Right.
Finally, she gave us this bracelet. So then we get the bracelet and we like, all right, cool. Now, like, what do we do? Like, I don't even know what this is. Like, we know it's a trade show, but we're like, do people go in there and buy clothes from these people? Like, we didn't know anything about the trade show. So we ended up getting in there and I ran into one of my homeboys that was out there who remained unnamed. Um,
Okay.
that had he ended up coming up on something and he was like, oh, I got this hotel, I'm not gonna be using it. So
Oh,
then,
okay.
so we was
Okay.
good. We was
Okay.
good. So that was probably like the most reckless attempt to get into like an event like that. Now, other times, I so I was in Toronto, and
You be in the most unlikely places,
yeah,
places
this
where
is
you should be set, and you be like, I'm just winging it.
so check this though. So I was in Toronto, and it was I had a couple hats on me, and it was somebody I don't remember who it was. It was somebody performing, right? I think it was like French Montana that was performing in the event that was next to the event that I was at, and I was there for one of my homeboys' bachelor parties. And but at the same time, in my mind, I'm thinking business, right? So I'm at the pool party side, which was it was a pool party that was hosted by LeBron James,
Okay.
but everybody was like, okay, LeBron James is gonna go the to the French Montana concert before he comes out and he does his DJ set. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna just stick out. I'm gonna stay out here at this pool party. I ain't really tripping. I'm gonna kick it with I think we had left like the whole party and it was me and my line brother that was at this thing. And so then he tells me he's gonna go inside the spot. And so I had ran into some other people from fam and I was kicking it with them. And then I'm trying to find him. He's like, I'm inside. So now I'm fresh out the pool, soaking wet. And the adjacent spot is is like an indoor club. Like you can't.
Right. You have to have
So
clothes on.
yeah, you gotta have clothes on. So I go up to the door and
Wet?
yeah, soaking wet, trying to get in. And the dude at the door is like, man, you ain't no way you getting in here, bro. And I'm
Right.
like, nah, you gonna let me in, dog. And he's like, nah, it ain't. It's no way you gonna get in. Dog. I was like, listen, my homeboy is in there. He's super drunk. I gotta get him out of there. Like I gotta. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bigger problem. I'm making this up on as I go. And he's like, nah, you ain't getting in here. And I was like, what's your name, man? And then talking. I find out that he was Haitian. And I end up telling him about some rant, like this project that I did when I was in grad school for a hospital in Belvedere, Haiti, and telling him like the website that I created after the earthquake happened, like a whole bunch of stuff. I'm telling like these are real things that happen. And
Right.
he's like, dang man, I see his shoulders like going down,
Yeah. He
and I'm
like,
like, oh, I'm about to get in, soaking wet. I'm soaking wet. So he's like, man, go ahead, man, go ahead. So I walk
are
in
you
there.
fucking
Straight
serious?
up, straight up. So I get in there. This, mind you, this party costs $200 to get in.
What?
$200 to get in the party. If you were as late as I was, it was 200. If you bought an early ticket, it was $100.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
for Caravana. So
Oh, that's why.
yeah, so I get in there, and I run into a whole nother like uh bachelor party of bruhs from Florida State. So I go holler at them, and I still don't see my line brother in this. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I got this hat on me. They said LeBron James is here. I'm gonna go walk on the stage, right? So
What?
yeah,
I'm gonna go walk on the stage.
so
Are you listening to yourself?
I go, and mind you, I'm still soaking wet.
Are you drunk as well?
Soaking wet. Nah, I couldn't. I, I couldn't get drunk at that party.
Oh my god.
It's too expensive.
I knew this what you were gonna say. Nigga ain't
I
buy
can't
no
even
damn
drive, man.
drinks.
Dude, what? I think one drink was like $30, man. What am I?
Oh
I'm
hell
gonna
no.
get 3 drinks and I'm gonna just be mad.
Yeah, I'm good.
$20. But so I get in there and I walk up. I walk up to the stage, and I just walk. I just walk like I'm supposed to be there. And so I get to the top, and this massive dude grabs me, but he don't. It ain't disrespectful though. It ain't disrespectful. He's just like,
Right.
hey man, where you going? I was like, oh, I'm going on stage with my peoples. Right? He's like, okay, who your peoples? I was like, Josh. I just said a name, like
What?
any name. Now I'm gonna skip to the end because I don't get on the stage, right? I don't end up getting on the stage. I know y'all expected me to get on the stage, right? But
Nigga, what?
let me tell you what. So the funniest part though
I
is
thought what?
the dude that stopped me, right? I don't get on the stage that way. So the dude that stopped me, um, somebody whispered in my ear. They was like, "That's LeBron James' bodyguard," right? So I'm like, I don't care who this dude is, right? And I tell the dude, I was like, "What's your name, man? What's your name?" Because I'm gonna just holler at my peoples, man, and they gonna get me on stage. And so the dude, he pulls me to the side. He's like, "Listen, man. you don't see all these white folks right here, dog. I, I'm sorry, bruh. Like, I know, I know you probably supposed to be up there, but all of them are trying to get up there, bruh. I can't do anything. He's like, but if you go on that other side, that's where French Montana people at. You gonna be good. And I'm like, bruh,
Good
I'm
looking.
soaking wet, bruh. You believe everything I'm saying?
I
It's
can't
going crazy.
believe you.
So I
Do
ended up
you even
going on
have
the
on
other
a
side.
shirt?
Huh?
Do you
Yeah, I
even
had
have?
on. No, I had
Okay.
on a shirt. I had on a
Okay.
shirt. Uh, but that was soaking wet. It was. I mean, because it was actually raining at the pool party too. So it was just like it was what it was. So I go on the other side. It's not as lit over there. It's easy to get on the stage over there. But then I'm like, I don't care anymore. But I mean, this the type of
Castro.
random stuff that happened. And then I go back, and then
Did you ever
LeBron
meet
James
LeBron
DJ.
James?
Yeah. Then I go back outside, and LeBron James in the middle of the DJ booth, and I had given a dude a hat at the DJ booth, so I come over there and I just do a little dap up. I ain't wasn't nothing,
Right.
wasn't nothing much. But that's how random and like I don't know what be going on in my life sometimes, man. I just be
Yeah.
doing random stuff
Yeah.
because I
You
feel
do
like
I thought I do random stuff, but you do random stuff to another level. Like
I
I
just
find
feel
my
like
way places,
you
but
could
you be like,
okay. So
I don't even
Outcast
what's
concert,
that?
right? You was there.
No, I sold my ticket.
Oh,
Cause
you wasn't there.
I saw
Who was
them.
out there with? Oh, it
I
was
forgot who you. Yeah, I saw them at Governor's
Andre,
Ball. So I was
Sammy,
like,
all them.
yeah,
And one of my homeboys and my dude broke off at that spot. We, they had like sections, so like you could be in the line, you could be like right up against the gate that's like the front of the stage,
yeah.
or you could be backstage. So we look at the people backstage, and the band for backstage is white. So we like shit. Our tickets are white. So I fold my ticket up like a band. I put my ticket around my wrist, and I walked straight into the front of the stage. And ain't nobody asked no questions. We went backstage and was eating in the I don't know what they call it area, but it's like where all the artists can go and eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Big Gip is back
Craft
there.
services.
Like Goody Mob is back there, and
Yeah,
we still in a sweet tea and a macaroni and cheese. Like,
that's how you
well,
supposed to
not
get it though.
stealing, eating, because if they didn't eat it, it was gonna get thrown away. So we didn't steal it. We just
Oh man.
apportioning rations. Like
All that to say, David has plenty of
I'm random.
ridiculous questions. I mean, ridiculous stories. Listen, I have to say,
I don't even know if I answered the question. I don't remember what the question was no
you
more.
you did. I asked you what the most ridiculous thing you did to get into one of these shops or trade shows, and
The most
yeah, you. Oh my God, you are amazing. Thank you. So that was this week's segment of what's the most ridiculous,
and I
bruh.
go on rants, and then I'll lose myself in my rant sometimes. So
Yeah, we know the Giggle Gang now knows that this is why we be on the phone for like 4 hours.
yeah,
You're like, wait, why we act like we ain't just see each other? But anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and get into the water cooler. Got a couple of things here that I want to discuss before we get into your business.
word.
First and foremost, it's just so much going on in the world. This week was it was a lot. This week was a lot. And we'll go ahead and start with Kanye West. So
Scoopity doop, scoopity doop.
I heard it last night.
What is it? Come on, man.
So Kanye West is doing what Kanye does best, where he decides, hey, I'm just going to ruffle people's feathers. I'm going to say some bullshit. And I think people are sick of it now. It seems as though that has he's aligned himself with the wrong person. So a couple of days ago, Kanye went on a rant on the 25th, whatever the 25th was. I think that was what, Tuesday or Wednesday. And here are a couple of his tweets. You don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob can't make me not love him.
Love.
Yes. We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with everything anyone does. That's what makes us individuals. And we have the right to independent thought. And I also, what did he say? And also, I'm all the way out of the sunken place, because at this point people were like, this nigga's in the sunken place. And I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared of the media. I'm not scared of the past. And I'm optimistic about the future. This tweet is in love, not fear. If your friend jumps off the bridge, you don't have to do the same. Yay being yay is a fight for you to be you. For people in my life, the idea of Trump is pretty much a 50-50 split. But I don't tell a Hillary supporter not to support Hillary. I love Hillary too. No race, no religion, or political party can argue with the power of love.
Yeah.
Obama was in office for 8 years and nothing in Chicago changed.
Yeah, you've been rich for how long?
Right. And then the last one out, because he had a whole like barrage of tweets. Like it was a lot. He covers the gamut. He talks about the clothing industry and how he's a genius, and this interview that he's going to do with Charlamagne the God. He comes back and says, my wife just called me and she wanted me to make clear to everyone, I don't agree with everything Trump does. I don't agree 100% with what anyone does. Oh, wait. I don't agree 100% with anyone but myself. And of course, Chance the Rapper jumped in and got a little backlash because Trump, Twitter Trump thanks Kanye and also thanks Chance the Rapper, because Chance jumped in and was like, oh, all black people don't need to be Democrats and things of that sort. So that happens. And then Friday night and Saturday, Friday night and Saturday, Kanye drops 2 tracks. Ye versus Everybody. And then what's the other track? The one that has the boobity bobbity boop.
King something. I don't know.
Yeah. So my thought process before hearing Ye versus Everybody, because Ye versus Everybody has T.I. on the track. And it's basically Ye speaking his mind and T.I. speaking from the perspective of everyone who's looking at Kanye like he's crazy right now. Because I will say, yesterday at Broccoli Fest, the DJ at the main stage kept asking people how they felt about Kanye West and kept saying stuff like, wake up, Mr. West, like, from College Dropout. So I'm just trying to figure out like what you think about this, because I get it, publicity, but sometimes it's like, that's a lot, bruh. You doing a lot.
Yeah. So one of my best concerts that I've ever been to was actually a Kanye concert when the stage was flying around, right?
Yep.
And I was on the floor, and it was probably one of the most infectious energies that I've ever experienced in my life.
Right.
Now, I can respect the artistry, and I was one of those people that would defend him to the fullest. Even when he wore when he did a pop-up and almost
the Confederate flag.
Piece, yeah, even that, because like when I was at FAM, I actually did I painted a shirt with the Confederate flag, and I actually had the same kind of thought process, is take the power out of kind of this beacon of hate by just doing the total opposite of what somebody would anticipate. And then I covered it in Amendment 13, and so when I saw him do that, I was like, I had a bunch of colleagues that was like, nah, that's stupid, and I even was like having conversations about that, defending him. Now, fast forward multiple years, and you have this dude in office who, to me, is an infectious bigot,
right?
And who also seemingly doesn't really have a strong perspective on anything, and everything he talks about is just bubbles. It's like, oh, it's gonna be great, oh, it's gonna be good, oh, I'm great, oh, I'm good.
Yeah,
oh,
there's no thought
bad.
behind it. There's no substance. It's just
no substance and
sound bites.
And also, the way in which he talked about Black people, in positioning himself as almost like a better race in general. I think he called them back in the day birthers, like we're kind of birthed with this right. And just knowing all of these things about him and how infectious his relationships have been with the people that surround him, and how he just is not loyal to anybody but himself. For Kanye to align himself with him, fuck Kanye, right? And
Right.
that's how I feel. Now, can he come back from that? I hope so. You know, I really do. I really do hope so, because it's not about no political affiliation. It's
Right.
not about um, religion, but it is about race, right? It is about that. And so if you got somebody that don't give a shit about you, they don't care about you, and you say that's your brother, where is it? I can't fathom where that's coming from, and I feel like whoever he's surrounding himself with right now is probably a bunch of people that are just yes men, that are saying, hey, yeah, say that, man, yeah, that'll be great, that'll drive people crazy. And it's probably people that to some way, maybe in some soft way, are making money off of him, um that are just guiding him down his wrong path. Now granted, he's his own thinker. He could do and say whatever the hell he wants to do, but it's a lot of people that come out and defend him and say, hey, anybody can have their own opinion. And that's absolutely true. But anybody can choose to say fuck you because of your opinion.
Right.
And that's essentially what happened. I think I read that his follower base went down like 9 million people. And that's
Yeah,
because
they say that, but apparently that wasn't
it
true.
wasn't true. All right,
Yeah, they said
I didn't research it, but I can
yeah.
imagine if you have a follower base, and let's say 30% of those people have actual substance, and they follow you because of what you were preaching earlier on in your career, that to them was foundational things, like these were formative things that make you the human being that you are. It wasn't things that you grow up and change from, right? It wasn't just this is my style this day. And now I rock dad shoes and matrix clothes. Like
Right.
it wasn't that. These are formative changes in your belief system that don't seem to make sense. It's a regression.
Right.
And that's what's killing me about Kanye, man. And he probably gonna come out with some incredible music, right?
But did you
Nobody.
hear the people versus Ye?
Nah, I didn't hear that one. Is it
So
is what?
because no, because I hear what you're saying and I feel the same way.
Yeah,
But literally when I listened to it last night, I was like, wait, is Ye playing us? Like I'm very confused because it's basically Kanye explaining that by him putting on that Make America Great hat
yeah,
shows that I'm just as equal as someone who thinks that they're better than me. So white folks that follow Trump and have the same doctrine and same mindset as Trump, right?
right.
And this is an opportunity for us to have a conversation and that he's still fighting for the people. So on the track, it's T.I.
Yeah,
And T.I. is speaking from the perspective of basically you. Like
yeah,
T.I. is literally rapping. Because at first I was like, is this like an excerpt from T.I.? But it's actually T.I. on the track with Kanye
yeah,
rapping and saying, hey, bro, you sound crazy. Like, I'm not understanding what you're talking about. Like, the way that you're going about it is the wrong way. And then Kanye comes back and explains his point. It's kind of like a Dr. Dre, Eminem type of early Dr. Dre, Eminem type of thing where they would go
yeah,
back and forth, one talking to the other person's conscience. So it really, I think my issue is I feel like Kanye thinks that he is doing the right thing, right?
I
I,
wouldn't disagree with that. I can't. I don't disagree with that.
right. I think that he thinks that he's doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that I have is Kanye consistently and more in the last couple of years, insistently just is hell bent on being misunderstood.
Yeah,
It's like if I want to talk to you, Castro, I want to have a conversation with you, but I want to talk to you with my words backwards because I want to. Like this is what I do. I want to talk to you backwards and I want you to decipher what I'm saying.
yeah,
It's like, why? Just speak regularly. And I think that's what Kanye is doing because when you hear the track, you're gonna be like, wait, okay, so what's going on now? Like, is everybody in on it? Because the fact that T.I. is on the track with him
yeah,
and rapping exactly what you just said,
yeah,
and they're going back and forth, I'm like, well, obviously he's had a conversation with T.I. So much so for T.I. to get on the track with him.
Mm-hmm.
So if T.I. is someone who is an ex-felon, who has been in jail, who, even though I don't agree with his personal things, but that's none of my business.
Yeah.
I know that he does not like Trump. I know that T.I. does not fuck with Trump. Like, he's on the track with Kanye.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to hear it.
There's a level of artistry, like
So that's where I'm
in
confused. I'm like,
Kanye that can be left up to interpretation, right? But you also got to recognize that Kanye is smart enough to understand the power of his words and how divisive they are, right? And so when you choose to say this is my brother, right, and when you choose to knock down um, Barack Obama, who started the whole "My Brother's Keeper" movement, which
right,
absolutely impacted people from Chicago, um, and 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 then there's like really no, I, I I don't know of any evidence of Yeezy doing the same. And I'm sure before Barack was in office, Yeezy had much more money than Barack. So
right.
it's those things that are those are black and white to me. You know, like you can do something artistic, right? You could paint a painting, and you know, Kanye might paint himself with a watermelon face, right? And be like, "Oh, I'm just embracing this because I really like watermelon," and forget how people describe black folks. You know, yeah, you could do that, and yeah, it's gonna be some people that might understand that, but it's like, why? Like,
Yeah,
why, and what are you trying to really prove? Because you
exactly.
you're not you're not doing that. Like, that's not happening, because if you're speaking in Kanye language, the only person that understands Kanye language is
It's
Kanye.
Kanye. And
And
that's what's annoying me right now. It's like,
yeah,
bruh, you gotta stop doing this. Because people continue to misunderstand you, but you are making them misunderstand you. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah,
So yeah, that's my spiel. But I would definitely
it's frustrating for me, man, because
because I'm a huge, you know me, I'm a
I,
huge Kanye fan.
yeah, and you know where I come from. Like
Right,
when my girl got me those tickets, I was super excited. I mean, I waited in the longest line that I ever waited in to get into that space, and it was an incredible experience. And it's like you can't, you can value the experience that comes from somebody,
mm-hmm.
but you can't ignore there's certain things that you just can't ignore. Like I mean, for me, there's levels to indiscretions, right? So like somebody might have a drug habit, I probably won't judge them because of that, you know?
Right, right,
Because that to me is like a personal thing. Like
right,
you have a personal issue that you're battling with, and I'm not gonna judge you for that, right? But when it's something that impacts me holistically, and when his fan base is probably 80% white, and I mean it's probably the makeup of the US, you know, 13% black,
right.
and and everybody else, they listening to you, you know, and they're responding to what you're saying. So he's really impacted them. I'm not looking to him to be no beacon of knowledge for anybody, but at the same time, like, bro, don't cause harm to the whole like
Yeah,
to
exactly.
yeah, like that don't make
And,
no sense to
and
me.
that's where I think that he, like you, it goes back to what you said earlier about having yes men. He don't have anybody that can reel him in. He
But
doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have anybody that he can actually talk to that will be
yeah.
like, "Hey, bruh, nah." Because
So
even
John
in
Legend,
his
did you see the text?
yes, so John
Yeah.
Legend was, but you have to understand, John Legend never called Kanye by name, right? And
Mm,
then I think like the next day,
mhm.
John Legend posts a picture
With
of
him
him
and Kanye,
with him and Ye.
they were
So
at a baby shower.
right, and I'm just kind of like, I
Confusing.
I get it, like, because my homegirl said the same thing. She was like, "What the fuck was that about?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
because that's his friend, and
Yeah.
they also are in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
and they have to keep up. Like they literally have to show people like, oh no, we're good. Like they're putting on. Like,
Yeah.
John, you literally just went off on Ye without calling Ye by name.
Yeah.
We all know who you're talking
But
about.
that the
But
thing
we
is,
also have to he felt the need to show everybody, but we're still good.
he wouldn't have called Ye by name because he's texting Ye, right? Like
Right.
if I text you, I'm not gonna say, "Hi, Irene. This is
Yeah.
Castro.
Yeah.
I don't like what you just said." You know, I'm not gonna do that. But what I and the other thing is if my real like if I consider somebody a close friend and they go into the wayside, I'm not about to leave them because of that. You know,
Right.
I'm not about to uh immediately like just exit stage left because something changed.
But that's what people were expecting. Like they didn't.
But that's not a true friend. And
It's
if
not
and
a
if
true
some,
friend, but the fact that he posted that picture the next day, like
yeah,
my
that's
homegirl was
crazy. That's
like,
that's wild. Like
yeah, it was like, why would you do it the next day? Like
nationwide.
maybe a couple of
Yeah,
days later, a couple of weeks, but you just had to let us know
yeah,
that you still good. Like we know you still good. We know that's your friend. We know you're not gonna walk away from him. Like
yeah.
so, it's kind of I don't know. It's
And
a
you
lot.
want somebody like that to be there because I mean, he seems to be a voice of
Right.
reason. And I don't prescribe to like group thing. I tend to think of myself as somewhat of an anarchist as well in the way in which I think about a variety of different things. And but there's certain things. Trump is one of them that I feel like, hey, bro, it's black and white, you know,
Yeah.
and
And that's why I was like, nah, that's not who you're supposed to align yourself with.
yeah,
Like, nah.
yeah,
Okay. And then speaking of just divisiveness,
yeah,
whatever, just confusion and division. So this week on Thursday,
yeah.
yes, on Thursday, Bill Cosby was convicted of, I believe it's 3 counts of assault, each count facing up to 10 years in prison for sexual assault of a woman. This is just one of dozens. I believe there are about 50 or 60 women who have accused Bill Cosby of sexual assault and or rape.
You said 50 or 60
50,
total.
50 or 60 because some sources say over 50 women and then some sources actually go as high as 60. uh, so this has caused a bit of an uproar, and I'm glad that I have you on the show because there
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of there's a lot of internal struggle within the African American community because
Mhm.
Bill Cosby, as we all know, the Pudding Man, and
Yeah.
Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable, everybody's favorite dad, and
Yeah.
then went on to produce and create a different world. One of the
World
main reasons
album.
why I went to college and went to an HBCU, more specifically. So, folks have a lot to say about it. So I kind of just want to get your perspective on how all of this is playing out. Number one, do you think that he did it? Do
Yeah.
you think that the charges are fair? And yeah,
Yeah.
I just because there's a lot that I have to
So
say
I'm gonna just
about.
speak for because obviously I'm not in the room with him and whatever was going on a long time ago, right? So
Yes.
I'm gonna talk about a couple different things. One is there's this issue with too much information sometimes, right?
Right.
So like if if let's say you're in a neighborhood and somebody sees an alien, right? And
Hmm.
you got one other person that confirms it was an alien, another person that confirms it was an alien, and then you got another person that's like, oh, that was a military test, and then you got another person that was like, oh, that was just a drone or a balloon. Like after a while, like the information starts to get so convoluted that it's very difficult to ever really decipher what the truth is, right? And so when you have in many instances a lot of people that came out against Bill that were discovered to be opportunists,
Hmm.
and then in and then adjacent to that, folks who he's admittedly had relationships with, and then adjacent to that, folks that describe things that were consensual but then still came out. It's very difficult to make a holistic conclusion based on that, right? Now, what I will say is that there absolutely had to be some questionable things going on, right? Um, I mean,
Absolutely. In the
yeah,
70s,
yeah,
80s.
there
Yeah.
absolutely had to be some questionable things going on. But I also think about some of my interactions when I was at FAM, and um, not to say that anything questionable happened with me, but I just think about like being around people that were super drunk that that might have ended up messing with each other, and perhaps maybe the next day don't remember it. Like that type of stuff I've seen happen, and both folks that were in that situation were also inebriated, but which that's also quite different from what's being um touted as what happened. So
Right.
I can't say whether or not he's guilty or not. But if he is, that's despicable, right? It's absolutely absurd. It's despicable, and he deserves whatever he gets. If he's
Exactly.
not, it's a shame because it's a legacy that's so amazing, that is absolutely tarnished, and I don't know that people are going to be able to separate the two things at all.
So
And so
wait,
I, yeah,
going back to what you were saying about separating the two things.
yeah,
So I feel I share the same sentiments as you, as far as I don't know all of the facts.
yeah.
I
I don't.
do think it is absolutely crazy at the age of 80, because there's all kinds of conspiracy theories and things of that sort,
Yeah,
that anybody would be going after Bill Cosby at this age. But hey, it can happen. We live in
yeah,
America. Things happen. But if it is true and Bill Cosby did commit these heinous crimes,
yeah.
he deserves everything that
Absolutely,
he
absolutely.
gets. That being said, for me, as I've gotten older, I've realized that I have to separate characters from real people, right?
Yeah,
And
mhm,
taking a step further, going back to what you said earlier about everyone has their own issues, and it's up to you to make a decision as to what you're going to deal with. So you made the example of, okay, if you have a drug problem or anything like that, I may not judge you, but if you do something else,
yeah.
I have to think twice.
And
So
for
for
me, it's
me,
impact other people. Like that's really what
exactly.
the question is that.
So for me, I can tell I have no problem saying this. I am not going to stop watching A Different World, because A Different World was needed. It was, like, again, the reason why I went to an HBCU. I thought it was an amazing example of Black people on television. I will not stop watching The Cosby Show because of what it represents, right?
Yeah,
But by the same token, I cannot see myself listening to R. Kelly songs. Like, as
yeah,
I've gotten older, like before, because we've known about this R. Kelly thing for almost 20 years. I've seen the video and I was still like, it's whatever. I don't even know why I was thinking that, but whatever. But I've gotten to the point where I literally cannot listen to an R. Kelly song without thinking about him peeing on a little girl,
mhm.
or having women inside of a sex dungeon. Like, I,
Don't call it a dungeon.
that's what oh, I
We're gonna be
forgot.
positive about dungeon today.
Yes, yes, yes. My bad. Not a dungeon. A
Uh,
sex something. I don't know.
oh,
A slave house. I don't know. So I get it. Everybody has their thing.
mhm.
But like, just switching gears for a moment, how do you feel about the R. Kelly thing?
The R. Kelly. I mean, it's years ago. I
I,
mean, but
but there's new allegations.
oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about like the people whose family, the girls whose family said that she was being trapped in the house
Yes,
or
yes. And
whatever?
apparently there's a new BBC documentary,
Yeah.
and it's coming back up again, like within the last couple of days.
I mean, think about people with sexual issues, man. That stuff goes on. It doesn't go away because it's innate in their brain. Like that. That is something that sometimes I feel like people you can be, I guess, nurtured to be that way. Meaning, like you might have gone through some experiences in your life that make you
Hmm.
overly sexual. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if that's the case with him, but I know that he be on some. It's obvious that he be on some bullshit. You know,
So,
girl, are you ready?
right, like, sir,
Come
nah, I'm
on.
not. Move from mommy. So yeah, so
Show
going
me
back,
some ID before you get knee deep in.
right.
Come on. Why you gotta show me ID? Where you hanging out, bro? Where you hanging out at? You
Exactly.
know what
He,
I'm
he
saying?
was he was singing about
It's
this
it's
shit.
it's telling. You know what I mean? It's telling. So TP2.com was an amazing album. I've
Amazing.
several sessions have occurred
Yes.
to that album. And
When you
and
say session, never mind. Never
and
mind.
but I mean the dude is despicable. And that's the hard thing about it, right? Because if you look at some of the most amazing artists back in the day, and I'm talking about like colonial artists, you know, you look at
Yeah.
or Michelangelo, for instance, like all of these people had their crazy ass indiscretions. Like,
Yeah.
and for some reason, it seems to me like there's a direct tie to like greatness at something and
A darkness.
darkness. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's like the mass majority of the world kind of sits somewhere in the middle. You know,
Yeah.
you're not really great at much. Like you do good at your job. You provide for your people, but it's and that sounds horrible, but it's there's certain things that are like really noteworthy that I'd say maybe 20% of the population does, or
Right.
30% of the population does. But then there's like these 1%ers that are just ridiculously great, like
Right.
Michael Jackson, for instance, right?
Yep.
And that level of greatness always comes with some level of controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And some instances it's warranted, some instances it might not be. But with R. Kelly, I think definitely, man, that dude got something crazy going on in his mind. I mean,
Yeah.
he got permission to you know what I'm saying? Like,
He did. Like, and I think it just goes back to our culture. So going back to the Bill Cosby thing,
yeah,
there's always been a culture of older men and younger
mm.
girls. I won't even call them younger women, right?
When you say culture, are you talking about black culture, or are you just talking about culture in general?
Culture in general.
Okay.
Yeah, culture in
No,
general.
I'd say in that I say with specific to that description, that's culture in general.
Yeah, yeah, very culture in general. It's still to this day, like it's not uncommon to see a woman with a man who is 15,
Yeah.
12 years
I mean,
older
look
than
at Anna
her.
Nicole, right? Back in the day, you know,
Right.
rest in peace. But I mean, her dude was geriatric,
Yeah.
and she was, you know, 20s, you know,
Yeah.
and that and it and that you know, it was controversial, but at the same time, people were like, you know, is
Yeah,
what it
they're
is.
like, oh, I mean, she's in it for the money and he's having a good time.
Have a great time. It is what it is.
Jay-Z's 12 years older than Beyonce.
Yeah, 12 isn't that bad.
See? 12 isn't that bad.
Because
A
I
lot
mean,
of people,
it's about when it happens, though. It's about when it happens. So
it's about when it happens.
if
Right.
he was 24 and she was 12, come
Then
on,
you
bro.
be, but
Yeah,
at one time he was 24 and she was 12.
yeah, but they weren't dating.
I know, but still, when you think about it, it's kind of like, ooh. So, just for me, the Bill Cosby thing, I've seen a lot as far as people's reactions to Bill Cosby. And I just think it's really unfortunate because, like I said earlier, we as Black people, it's almost as if we're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah,
Because if you go against Bill Cosby, you're going against Black people.
yeah,
But as a woman, I have to also speak up for women's rights. And
yeah,
as a
of
man,
course.
you should too. Like
Yeah,
we should all. No one should feel inferior to the other. No one should feel in danger to the other to the other sex. So it just, I just
and
wish that.
that's why it's so difficult in this situation for me to just cast him as a complete villain because I don't I don't know. Like
Right,
I
right.
just wasn't I wasn't there. I didn't really pay attention to the case, to be honest with you, and I
But on
don't
the
even
flip
think
side,
yeah.
to
If it
cast him
is,
as completely innocent,
yeah,
it's
you
like,
can't do
bro,
that
where are you
either.
getting this
You
information
can't do that
from?
either.
Like, why are
You can't
you
do that
so
either.
hell bent
Because I mean, you could
on
also
wanting him to be innocent?
yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah,
the thing. That's the
yeah,
thing. It's not even about
yeah.
because none of us know the facts, all of the
Nobody
facts,
knows
right?
the fact. Yeah,
But why are you, and not you, Castro, but
yeah. No, I
people
feel you.
out there, why are y'all so hell bent on him being innocent? This is the problem
Yeah.
with why a lot of women don't come forth with sexual assault or anything like it. Like they don't talk about it because it's like, well, maybe it was supposed to
But again, in
happen.
this situation, like what's so what's so unfortunate to me about the way in which everything was handled and how publicly everything was is because of the level of opportunists that naturally will come out of the woodworks
Yep.
and could potentially add noise to a situation that had a lot of clarity,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And because of that, if there's a core issue that happened, like with let's say one person, right? It's already, regardless of him being convicted right now, even with that person, if maybe there was some indiscretions there that some things that no details with no evidence, no nothing, like that's my understanding from what I've read so far, that there's not really, it's more like opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's say in that instance, like he got convicted on opinions, right? and that one juror that they said started the case that was like, I just think he's guilty, right?
Right.
Um, let's say that all of that came to play and they falsely accused him, right? Amongst those 60, it might be somebody else that was like really that it was
A real
more of an
situation.
issue. It was more of an issue, right?
Right.
But you'll never really know because it's so much
You've
noise.
casted all this doubt.
Yeah, you got so much noise that's around the issue in the first place, and that's what makes it difficult to judge. And but if he was 100% clean, and he was living a life that was 100% squeaky clean,
Which
then
nobody does.
yeah, then he would have no issues. Like he wouldn't have had any issues associated with that. And it's
Right.
just I don't know, man. I'm telling you, man. I live in Miami, man. I've seen people doing crazy shit. Like
And then
I'm not.
forget and be like, oh wait.
Yeah, I've seen people doing craziness, and it's they living life on another level. And I've witnessed an instance. Well, not I didn't actually witness the whole thing, but I've witnessed um on both sides people doing like ridiculous shit, right? And
Right.
then if it doesn't maintain a level of discretion and it comes out, blame is cast, right? And on the guy's side and on the girl's side. So I'm not trying to victimize any
Right.
any any person, but I've seen that personally. And so when I look at this case, and it's from years ago, and
Yeah.
it's just so it's
I think
mind
this
blowing.
last now, I think what people are mixing up, and I don't know if this is happening, if
Yeah,
this is
I don't
your
know the
case.
details too. So
Right. Most of us don't. But this last case is it's from years ago, but it's not from like the 70s or the 80s or anything like that, or even the 90s, I think. This last case is the only case that could still be tried because the statute of limitation wasn't up yet. So
yeah,
I think people need to remember that as well. Like they're not judging him off of a case. Well, I don't know, but technically they're not judging him off of a case from years ago. That
yeah.
just so happens to be evidence that may not be used in this case from years ago, but it happened.
And that was the
Anyway,
whole pretense too behind like the whole Me Too movement and everything, because it was like you had these people of power that were in positions where if you're really worried about your career, you don't want to make that person mad, right?
right,
And so like even in a situation with like Matt Lauer, where his relationship was consensual,
right,
100% consensual. The girl even said it was consensual, and then she comes out in this moment. One can only really believe that you're being an opportunist at this point. Like, hey
right.
guys,
But there were
yeah,
situations where I think what's happening is you have the changing of the guard, and you
that
have the
that
change.
yeah,
You're having a change of culture. There's a cultural shift happening right now,
yeah,
where at one time it was okay to be like, "What's up?" Like
yeah,
talk. It was okay to walk through the club and grab a girl on
yeah,
the ass and nothing happens.
yeah.
That was okay. It did not make us feel good as women, but it was like, this is what we have to deal with.
Messed
And I'm
up.
not about to.
It's still messed up that was the case.
And I think that what's happening now is
Yeah,
people are like, nah, that's not happening anymore.
yeah,
And not only is it not happening anymore, I'm about to tell all the stories about what happened to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
And now people are now judging you
yeah,
for what you did
yeah,
when you were younger, or for what you did when it was okay. The culture made it okay to do it. And now
yeah,
you're being judged by it. So I think that's where it gets a little tricky, because it's like,
yeah.
but
And again, I'll go
yeah,
back
I
to
know I was on some fuck shit, but it was cool back then.
yeah, yeah.
Quote
So
unquote.
yeah, and it doesn't take into account, I so there's levels of like what could have happened, like somebody could have grabbed somebody's shoulder, whispered in their ear something that was
Right.
crazy. Somebody could have molested somebody could have did something even further, drugged them, all that stuff. And so in the conversation though, those I don't think those levels are really that apparent. It's just, you know, oh shoot, somebody said something and you gone, and that is partially because of the whole noise thing I was just mentioning, right? It's
Right.
so much going on. Like these people that got these public gigs, like they gigs, they ain't even trying to hear that. You know what I mean? They're not even trying to respond to any message that has anything to do with those movies because they don't want to be associated with having somebody housed within their organization that is known to have done this, even if there's no jury
Right.
associated with it. But again, like I think my feeling on it is like if somebody do some crazy shit like that, they gotta go, man. They gotta go. They gotta go. You know, it is what it is. Like,
It is what it is.
You gotta go.
Right.
I just am not so quick to judge on either side. Because I'm not in those situations, and I've seen situations where
It's been wild. Yeah. And then the last thing here, do you listen to Janelle Monáe?
Yeah, and
she has a new album called Dirty Computer.
Heard. I didn't hear the album yet.
Yes, but she came out as pansexual.
Right.
Because the album is very, I don't want to say sexually explicit, but she's very open on it. So everyone's applauding her, and and I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm a Janelle fan. Mm-hmm. I did not know what a pansexual was, so I definitely looked it up. And for those of you who are listening who don't know what a pansexual is, according to Wikipedia, pansexual is the sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction towards people regardless of their sex or gender identity. Pansexual people may refer to themselves as gender blind, asserting that gender and sex are not determining factors in their romantic or sexual attraction to others. Pansexuality may be considered a sexual orientation in its own right, or a branch of bisexuality to indicate an alternative sexual identity, because pansexual people are open to relationships with people who do not identify themselves strictly as men or women, and pansexuality therefore rejects the gender binary. It is often considered a more inclusive term than bisexual. To what extent the term bisexual is inclusive when compared with the term pansexual is debated within the LGBT community, especially within the bisexual community. And that is according to Wikipedia. So basically, Janelle is into men, women, right, androgynous men and women, transgender, all of that. So when I read that definition a couple of days ago, immediately I was like, a couple of things crossed my mind. Yeah. First thing was, is she really gay? But she just says she pansexual? Like, that's just an easier way to come out? Because a lot of people do that, especially in the African American community. Yeah. And again, I am a huge Janelle Monáe fan. Yeah. I have friends who are very close to Janelle Monáe, so this is no disrespect, no shade. But that's the first thing that came out to me. Because a lot of, especially Black men, will do this, be like, oh, I'm bisexual, when they're really gay, because it's just easier to come out that way. And I get it. I get it. Like, it's just.
I actually don't get that. But I'll finish your thought.
Right. I know we've talked about this before. So that crossed my mind, right? Like, okay, because I've never heard of pansexual. Yeah. Or maybe I've heard of it, but I never thought to do research the way that I did the other day. And then the other thing was, well, the way that it's described, I feel like more people might actually be pansexual than they know. Because if you're saying that you're attracted to men and women, and then androgynous men and androgynous women, and whoever else, I know a lot of people who have been attracted to androgynous women or androgynous men of the opposite sex or the same sex. Right. And it's just a thing. Like, there hasn't been a title to it. I don't know if it's taking it a step further and it being like actually acting on it, because maybe somebody may be like, oh wait, that's actually a girl. Okay, nah, I'm good. Or that's actually a man. Oh, okay, no, I'm good. Yeah. But at first look, at first sight, you were attracted to that person. Yeah. So and maybe in a certain type of situation, depending upon who you are, you probably would interact with that person in a sexual manner. So does that mean that there are more people who are actually pansexual than we actually know? Because I ain't never heard of this before. And I don't even think that it's in the LGBTQI or, all those letters. There's no P in there. So I just, it's just confusing. I believe that sexuality for a lot of people is very fluid, but hey, it is what it is. But those were the two main thoughts that kind of crossed my mind. I won't even say cross. I actually pondered on them for quite some time because I was just scratching my head like, what? Like, But yeah, what do you have to say about it?
I just, so I'm a kind of get away from the whole like pansexual definition and all of that, right? So it's, to me, one thing, right? It's funny that there has to be, like, in everything that happens in the world, there has to be categories, right?
Which is stupid to me, but okay.
And so, like, I'll go to food, for instance. Like, you got a vegan, you got a raw vegan, you got vegetarian, you got pescatarian, and then like when like somebody calls himself a vegan, like if you see that person pick up a bacon, oh, you got some bacon, like, oh, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like even with like lesbian women, like I've heard, like, if they happen to be attracted to, oh, you violating, oh my God,
right. It's like,
I can't believe that, right?
What is that?
I mean, so like myself, I'm attracted to women, right? But I could imagine like somebody else is attracted to whatever, right? Like, I don't, and I think it's just funny that the world has to like categorize these things. Like, it's the what? Like, what?
Yeah, I was confused.
What kind of invention is this thing? Like,
I really was confused. I was like, ain't that everybody though? Like, when you really,
but it gets so confusing, like, because it's gonna end up being like, somebody gonna be like, okay, I'm a transsexual woman that identifies as a male, but I only like other transsexual people or something like that, right? And
right.
Okay, what is that category? Like, transsexual squared plus B times X minus 2? Like,
I just want everybody to live their life. I just want everybody to live.
What you do, man. Just do what you do. Like, do your thing. You know, whatever your thing is.
Right. Do that. Because I want to say Webster or Google, somebody, the most researched term on this week was pansexual. Because I'm trying to tell you, don't nobody know what the fuck that is.
People's sexuality is damn near like a horoscope book now. Like, you know, okay, you like, you have long-term friendships, you work well with other people and all this stuff. And I'm not trying to discredit whatever. I mean, if that's what you feel you got to do and you got to label whatever it is that you are. I mean, I guess I'm straight, right? But I feel like that's probably the easiest label or non-label. But outside of that, you know, I went to high school with dudes that I swore were not the slightest bit gay, that were dating women consistently and now don't date women. And it's mind-boggling to me, but maybe that's what they were into back then. I don't really know, but I don't know that they describe themselves in a specific way. I have no idea, you know?
Right.
But when I saw it, I saw pansexual. I was like, man, what is that? That's some new shit. Like,
and you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I was surprised that I didn't get a text from you.
Yeah,
because I always get a text from you. So
I just saw it.
What does this mean? And I'll be like, okay.
I just saw it yesterday, and I'm like, bro, what the hell is this? And so I looked at it. I looked it up, and I was like, okay, this just seemed like etc. Like, you might as well.
I'm trying to tell you, it's like, exactly what it seems like.
It's just like, okay, I'm just etc.
Right. Like, what is ...
Yeah,
it was,
because that's how you could. I mean, honestly, that's how they could get rid of all them letters. Like, it could be LGBT ... Like, you know, it's a whole bunch. Like, we ain't about to just.
If that's the case, just put everybody together. Like, if that's what we're doing. But yeah, I get the reason why, you know, there are labels and there's a reason to, you know, advocate on the behalf of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the point where we're talking about pansexuality and that's a thing, I don't know that that's really a thing. I just think that you out here living. I think that you are living and you are a person who loves people. That's it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know that there has to necessarily be a title.
I
A
think where
title that's so confusing. It's like, what are you?
I
What?
think where like LGBT comes in, like in terms of advocacy, is focused on two specific things. One is civil rights, and the
Right.
other is hate crime.
Right.
And and devoid of those two things, there's nothing else really to talk about,
Right.
right? It's nothing else really, in my opinion. In my opinion, now maybe there's things I don't know because I'm not in that community, but to me, being kind of being outside of all of those different labels, I feel like it's one is like, hey, this is what I am, like just accept me for who I am, and keep it moving. But also, if somebody wants to be in a relationship with the same sex, they want to be able to have the same legal
Rights.
legal rights as somebody that is in love, that is in a male female relationship.
Right.
I feel like what's the risk in that? You know what I mean? What is the risk in like what is it, what's the loss? Because I'm married. We pay more in taxes, like
Right.
because we're married. So I don't really see what the risk in that is, or if there's like a
It's
fear that we
hatred.
leave. Yeah,
No, it's just hatred and misunderstand and not misunderstanding, but a lack of wanting to understand something that's different
yeah.
from those who make
So
those laws.
that's the thing, though. Is like if you're not that, you're not gonna understand it. Like so, I'm I can't fathom a male being attracted to a male, but that's because I'm not that. And I'm sure that there are males that are attracted to males that can't fathom being attracted to a woman, and that's because they're not that. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's it's okay to not be something, like, and to still be okay with somebody else being that. Like
Right.
I think,
Like let everybody live their life.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
anyway.
I mean, you went if you went to family, and you ain't got no gay homies, like,
Then something is
yeah,
up
you
with you.
probably.
Like yeah, it's like that's like saying I don't have black friends. Like
Yeah,
what are you
it's
talking
it
about?
is what it is. Like,
It
and
is.
I think the one thing that I will say is like, my thoughts on all of this space has evolved over like my life, right?
Yes.
Because when you're younger, not only is this like a controversial thing, like losing your virginity is controversial. All of that stuff is controversial when you're younger. But as you get older, you just kind of realize like, yo, we relate on so many other things. Like, what's the point in this being a barrier, similar to any other barrier, you know, like
Right.
somebody's richer than you, or somebody's in another country, or even speaks a different language than you. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to like to limit yourself in the interactions that you can have just talking to somebody or being.
I wholeheartedly agree. Like, and that spans into race and all of that good stuff. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't all be able to just live and learn from each other. But
I'm gonna tell you. So I still got homeboys that like they got hard lines. You know, they got hard lines about, who they kick it with and all that stuff. What I've learned is like, I think people think that as soon as you interact, there's it's like guilty by association, but it's like also um like the thought that, okay, now I'm gonna go and do all of the things that they're into as well. Nah, bro, that's not how it works. Like,
I really hope that changes though, because I think that that's a very antiquated way to think,
it is,
especially in
but
fucking
I mentioned
2018.
I mentioned
Nobody
that because
cares.
it is changing. It
Okay,
is
good.
changing, and the conversations amongst my homeboys is it's just different. And, everybody's just like, man, do your thing, bro. I mean, if we don't have surface level things in common, we probably not gonna hang out. But
Right.
so be it.
Right. No, I totally get it. Oh, Castro. So we're gonna get into your business.
Let's get it.
So you are the creator, director, everything of Complex Apparel, Dungeon Forward.
Right.
Um, so tell us how this came about. Like,
Yeah.
tell us how you went from t-shirts with the bear on it to
Yeah.
these dope ass hats.
The vintage. All right. So
Yes.
I'm a I'm gonna try to go through this as quick as possible. So Complex Apparel was started over 10 years ago. It was really started because I had no money, and we would go to. It's probably not politically correct, but we would go to Foot Locker and buy Arabs. If you're from Miami, you know what that is.
Yes. Long
Uh,
white t-shirts.
yeah, white T-shirts,
Yes.
and we would buy other T-shirts, and we would paint on them. And the reason that we did that is because t-shirts were 5 for $20. If you wanted to purchase a dope tee, you're gonna be spending 30 some dollars. We just didn't have that, right? And we already had paint because we were in architecture, and I had designed clothes like in my sketchbooks when I was in high school. And so once we started doing this was during the time like a brand, Mesquite actually had came out too, that was known for painted shirts, and so there was some level of popularity associated to like that space. And I found out later that Mark Echo actually started in fashion painting t-shirts, but um, so we ended up selling a bunch of those, and we thought that was just like the most massive business ever, and came to a quick realization that you just can't paint that many shirts that fast. And even if you charge an 80, $90 a shirt, it's still very difficult to do anything scalable in that space. So then when I graduated, we were still painting shirts. We did an event. We painted like 1,000 shirts, and then we lost our ass and kind of went back to the drawing board. And at this time, we were just haphazardly like just making things. Like there was no real brand mantra. There was no focus. It was just like, okay, this would be cool to do. Um, let's paint a Gucci Man snowman and see if people rock with it. Or Young Jeezy, my bad. And
Right.
and we did that. People was rocking with all kinds of different things that we painted, and then it got to a point. It's like, okay, well, where are we going with this? Like we lost all this money. We didn't really do too much like marketing. I didn't have a website at the time. It was just literally like haphazardly making things. And so we decided to focus on brands. And so at the time, my partner, he was from the Bahamas, so we had a brand called 242, which is their area code. And Dungeon Ford came to me in a dream. And so uh, uh, I always wanted to be in streetwear, and I wanted to create something elevated. And so to me, fashion forward was a dope term, but that always ignored streetwear. And to me, streetwear comes from like the grit of necessity. And to me, I call that cauldron the dungeon. And so that's where Dungeon Fort originally came from, but it became something that also describes my life. So if you think of it like from the dungeon forward, like I don't come from nothing. I mean, if I people would judge me if they knew where I came from, and I'm so open about it. Like I send people pictures of it because I'm proud of it, like proud of being able to get out of those situations and flourish into something bigger. But so we ended up buying a screen printer because we realized that we needed to be able to mass produce. And after purchasing that, we were still kind of haphazardly making things. We opened a store in the Bahamas. Like there's a bunch of random stuff that we did with no business plans, nothing. But it was all like the most incredible experiences that we could have put that we ever could have had. And then 3, 4 years ago, I um I decided that I wanted to become known for something specific, and I wanted it to be in a space that I felt needed innovation. And I went to an event. I saw somebody in a hat that I liked that I hadn't seen before, and I was like, I could do that so much better. Um, and so I made my first 3 hats. It was 24 pieces. It was the Orange Grove and two hats called the Ground Force one,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Ground Force, and they sold out. And I still had all these T-shirts that was like lingering, and I felt like, okay, maybe I'm onto something with hairwear. And then I look back at those, and the quality was horrible. And but then I was like, oh man, like this is kind of dope because I always wanted to elevate streetwear, and this is like the crown of
Mm-hmm.
streetwear. And I think I might be onto something here. So I did another run of tees, and then at one point, since I'm bootstrapping this and spending all of my personal money, I realized that there was a benefit in reducing what I was creating down to one category and becoming known for that category before ever really expanding into other spaces. And that's when the brand deleted every t-shirt except for our tanks because I just I couldn't delete them. They were just dope.
Yeah, it
Um,
takes a dope.
yeah, and we still probably gonna do some more of those. But deleting pretty much everything that was on the site, kind of scaling back from the whole idea of having this mascot, which was Teddy Bear Jake, and focusing holistically on design and developing a brand based on the mantra of being inspired by music, art, and street culture, and and putting all of my experiences in architecture and music and art all into one space that to me ended up being probably the best move I mean easily the best move that I ever made in kind of pivoting the brand. And so since then, like it's we have customers that are like, hey man, you ever gonna do some teas and stuff like that? But we've become known for creating dope headwear,
Right.
and now have customers that collect the hats that we come out with. I think maybe about a year and a half ago, we started. Um, I felt like there was something I needed to do to like make sure that people could kind of protect their hats and keep them clean. And so we developed these bags that are like large jewelry bags
The
that
pouches,
every
which are
yeah
amazing.
pouches that every single hat comes with, and that was received very well.
I
And
love
and
them.
and now
Look at one right now.
and now we so the focus has been like over the last 3 years it's really been trying to find like what is my space in headwear. And we definitely gotten noticed, and I'm sure we're going to talk about one of the ways in which we got noticed. But um, now the focus is really truly innovating that space, like creating things that you can't find anywhere, creating things that don't exist anywhere, brand new products. One that we just dropped
Got
is
my
the Sunika.
pouches.
I see you. I see
I
you.
love them.
Um, One is the Sunika Quran. I don't even have it around me. I don't. You don't post a video, right?
Yeah, I posted. Yeah, I
You
posted.
do post a
You
video?
what? You talking about right now?
Yeah, the video of us.
Oh no, but I can.
Nah. I didn't expect that. But anyways, we just dropped a hat called a Sneaker Quran, which is a sneaker crown in Japanese,
It's amazing.
and it has a high crown strap on it that we call the cage, and it allows you to contour the hat to your head even further. And so if you want to check it out, go to dungeon4.com/sunika SUNIKA, and it kind of explains the design process. It took us about a year and a half to get through. It's about 30 pages of documents that were needed um, to figure out all the details and components on this hat. And I felt like it really came together in an elegant way. And
It
to
did.
me, this is the start of like something new for the brand where we're really focusing on creating new products, new categories in the headwear space. And we're still gonna have like a plethora of other hats, but this is um, it's a live experiment, seeing if people are really gonna rock with something different and be able to kind of push a new agenda forward or push not even agenda, but push new perspective for it in headwear. So that's kind of where we are now, man. I love it though. Like
I do too.
the response that we've been getting, man, has been amazing. Like I got a guy on my team, Bugsy, who's always he hits the pop up. He manages the pop up most of the time, and so he's interacting with people directly, and the feedback that he gets is amazing. When I go out and do events, I did events even last night. I mentioned, and the feedback was amazing. Like it's just incredible. And then to hear people saying that they're starting to see hats everywhere because there's thousands of hats out there, and it's God, it's even wild to say that. Like that's ridiculous, like thousands of hats. I mean, and our hats are not cheap. I think our cheapest hat, if it's not on sale, is $35. The most expensive hat right now is 65. And I mean that's a lot to ask a person to pay for a hat, but once they know the story behind it and they know one like
The
all the
quality is
resources that go
amazing.
to and the quality itself, and I feel like quality is kind of like an entry. That's an entry point. Like you have to have quality to even be to maintain a customer base. But when you take it to the next level, um, like for instance, Sunika Quran, that we went through 5 manufacturers to make that hat. People were saying no. They're like, no, that's too difficult. We're not doing that. Like, we're not. We have no. And so the manufacturer that we ended up using is brand new. We never worked with them before, and we met them in person in Vegas, and was able to really go through like iterations of the sample. So what's launched now is the fourth iteration.
Dope.
But yeah, man.
So, you being a very close friend of mine, I've seen it from the beginning, all the hard work that you put into your craft,
Yeah.
and the risk that you take, the randomness that you go on,
Yeah.
and just seeing everything that you put into it.
Yeah.
So just recently, and we've heard stories like this.
Yeah.
Big bank taking little bank, if you will.
Yeah.
So just recently, there was an incident that happened with your brand, where a huge brand, I want to say, New Era is the largest,
Yeah.
the
They
biggest,
have 80% of the share of
yeah,
the headwear vertical. 80%.
and they literally stole an idea, concept, whatever from you. So,
Your words.
these are my words.
Yeah.
You had a video that you
Yeah.
posted for the Crown. What was this? I think your video came out like last October or something like that. Last
Yeah.
October, last
So
November.
the video that we did, the concept was originally entitled "Crowns for the Culture,"
Yes.
um, and there's other names that we've used, upgrade your crown, etc. And we filmed it last June,
Mm-hmm.
and we filmed it with a black-owned business here in South Florida. It's called C&I Studios, owned by a guy named Josh, and and we filmed it in studio. And our production team was probably maybe 5 people max. I put together the treatment before we got there. I did the casting. I don't think we had makeup or anything like that, and so we were roughly invested maybe like 2,000, 2,500. So I can't remember the exact amount, but there's a few $1,000s into the development of this video, and
And they stole it.
yeah, and in
So
June. So their video came out in March of this year. We launched our video in I believe it was in October of last year, and the similarities are just ridiculous. Like it is no disputing the fact
it's
that
a twin video, bruh.
yeah, yeah. And so we're we're taking legal action, and that's why I'm kind of I'm being very careful about what I say,
Right.
um but I mean, the thing is like it's obvious. Like it's obvious. There's no disputing what occurred, right? There's
Right.
no disputing what happened there, and now it's just a matter of who's going to take responsibility, because the key is it impacts my ability to use the same campaign,
Right.
right? Because now, as I push for it, since they have more exposure, they had crazy influencers that are on it. And the video was on national television on ESPN. My wife was the one who saw it before I did, and she hit me up, and I was actually leisurely surfing to try to find it, because I didn't really anticipate it to be a facsimile. Like I'm just, and then I look at it, I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is crazy. This happened.
So how does someone like you, the creator,
Yeah.
see that,
Make me
and
feel.
how does it make you feel? Because I know a part of you is extremely frustrated, right? But then, like,
So
is this a time where a part of you could be like, my shit is dope as fuck?
yeah.
That New Era had to use my shit. Like, I feel like it'd be easier to
Yeah.
think like that after you get
You know, it's
through the
crazy.
legal shit that you got to go through. But
Yeah.
right now, it's kind of like,
This is shit that was crazy to me. I couldn't fathom the fact that they had never launched a campaign that said crown before. I ended up looking up, I'm like, let me see if they've even dropped an advertisement like this in the past, like anything similar. Couldn't find anything. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. So you you weren't creative enough to think about it in that manner. That doesn't even make sense to me. That's wild. Because
yeah,
that component of the idea, to me, it's an original idea because we created like the campaign. But to think of it how as a crown is not, that's not incorrect. That's not, I mean, that's not unfathomable. Like you're
but
gonna,
it's some of the
yeah,
most simple things
yeah.
that make big headways. Like the
So
fact that,
what
because
made big headway though?
nobody's
Yeah,
called the crowd before, but now that you're calling it, it's like,
I'm sure. I'm sure other smaller brands have used the term crown. I'm sure that has. I don't want to say that we invented using crown to describe a hat. We did not, right? But
Right.
we did come up with was that entire creative approach and treatment and design direction and creative direction of a video that indicated that this is a crown for the culture, right?
Right.
And that's a totally different concept. You know what I mean? That's a totally different concept, and the idea of somebody extracting that idea from us is ridiculous, especially when it was a brand that I admired. You know,
Yeah.
I admired the fact that they own 80% of the market share of the business. But then I realized that when you're a behemoth, you can't move like I can move. You can't be as agile as I can be. You can't call 15 homies to come up and do a video and then launch the video. You need a production crew of 50 people plus to do a campaign like this when
Yeah.
it's something that we're able to do in a more fast and
Organic.
agile way. Like,
Yeah.
but then again, because of that, like ideas don't penetrate the top all the time, right? So they go to agencies. So the agency that did this video is 72 and Sunny, and they're based out of New York, multi-billion-dollar advertisement agency. And actually, they might not be based out of New York, but the office that did this one is in New York because New Era is in New York. And yeah, man, I just it's in certain instances it's indistinguishable. Like I posted a video that was a cut back from each one, and people were like, "When you gonna post the other video?" I'm like,
It's in there.
they're intertwined. Like, dang, that's crazy. And that's how similar it was. But you know, I, I'm,
Yes.
I'm hoping they make this right, man. They're gonna have to.
I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you, and I hope that this situation comes out in your favor. I think it already has,
Yeah,
but I hope that New Era does. You know, I don't know. I hope they do apologize and they do what they need to do to make this situation right.
yeah,
So everybody that's listening, listen. Dungeon 4 is about to take off. So if you don't already have one of these Dungeon 4 crowns, you need to get on it.
right.
Speaking of which, how can folks get your products? Like where are you? What are you
Yeah.
doing? Websites, social media, all
Okay.
that good
So
stuff.
everything is dungeon forward. You know, sometimes people can't spell dungeon, so I'm gonna do it. DUN. Hey, listen, it's not the easiest word, I guess. I don't know. But so the website is dungeonforward.com.
Uh-huh.
Instagram is at dungeonforward. Facebook, facebook.com/dungeonforward. Twitter is at dungeonforward. So you can find us at all of those outlets. You know, you purchase online. If you're in New York, Vinny's in Brooklyn, they carry our brand. Dr. J's carries our brand in New York, but I can't tell you which stores. I don't know specifically, so you're probably better off going on their website.
Mhm.
You can get them from our website in Miami, Shoe Gallery, Purple Carpet, Sneak Attack, um, Survival Miami as of next week, um, Sneak Peek Luxury as of next week. In LA, there's a spot called Stable Apes. So you could Google us. Like we put our retailers on the site too. Um, so yeah, support, upgrade your crown. It's about that
Yes.
time anyway for you.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Castro. Well,
What?
before we get to the end of the show, I'm gonna do what's in my beats, and because I have you on the show, and I know how you feel about Outkast and Andre 3000, I figured I'd take it back, and I
Yeah.
go to my favorite Outkast album, which is Stankonia, and I go
Hey.
with Bombs Over Baghdad. When
Hey.
that
Tears.
beat
Real tears.
drops, when that beat drops, that was when I realized, okay, I think I'm in love
Yeah.
with with Outkast. Like they they the real shit. So
Yeah.
y'all take a listen. This is a throwback for y'all. Bombs Over Baghdad by uh my man Andre Benjamin. Three
Three
stacks,
stacks.
you know, and
Outcast.
big boy. So y'all take a listen. Bombs Over Baghdad. Let's go. Oh my god, my nose.
Mm-hmm.
You did good, Castro. Look at you. Look at you.
You straight?
You be doing your thing.
Word.
Yeah, so we're about done.
We boring.
Um,
You're not boring, right? It's good.
nah. All right, cool. So yes, that was Bonds Over Baghdad. My boys, my guys, Outcast. You know, I had to be nostalgic for a little bit because I had my guy on the show to let
Yeah,
you know
nah, I
that I'm
appreciate
thinking about you.
I
So
appreciate it.
yes, so yeah, that was. I mean, that's pretty much it. We are done here. Like we've gotten to the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
You've I'm so excited. We got to talk about a lot of shit on the show. We got to talk about Dungeon Forward
Yeah, we went all
and
over.
some pop culture and some current events.
Yeah,
Yeah, any last words that you got for the folks?
man, oh man. Uh, Last words. Listen, rock with me now, so that I could take you with me.
There it is. There it is. I love it. I love it. Well, I think we're good here. Like this was dope. I got to record a podcast with my bestie.
Yeah, man.
I'm done now. This is great. Like, thank you. I appreciate you for
Right. Drop
for
the mic.
blessing the show and your gold mic. I'm gonna have to step my game up. I thought my shit was dope, but you on some other shit. But yeah, in true FSG fashion, go on and tell the people bye, holla back, all that good stuff, Castro.
Straight up. I told you we in the giggle game. What is it? Giggle gang?
Yes, the giggle gang.
Hmm. It just got giggle strange.
Oh Lord. Tell the people bye, nigga.
Hey, listen, bye, y'all. I appreciate you listening. Shouts out to
Absolutely.
FSG. Shouts out to Irene.
Absolutely.
This joint is. I appreciate you having me on this show.
Yes.
To your listeners, I rock with y'all. Rock with
Thank
Dungeon
you.
Ford. We gonna be here to stay. We
Let's
ain't going
go.
nowhere.
We're
Let's
not
get it.
going nowhere. We got next. So yeah. All right, y'all. This has been dope.
Free Kodak.
All of that.